Hey, what's going on, everyone? Big D here, and it's time to review the latest episode of Powers, which is episode 3. And they, of course, released the first 3 episodes, and then every Tuesday there's going to be episode 4, episode 5. So that's how they're going to end up doing it. Sadly, they didn't release it all at once because I would do a marathon on this because it's spring break. But this episode is titled Mickey Rooney Cries No More. That's a long title, by the way. Really long. Don't know why they just couldn't call it a simple, other than Mickey Rooney Cries No More. That's just too long. Anyway, it should take me less than 2 minutes to recap the episode, give you my pros and cons and final score again. Spoiler review, if you didn't, at the beginning with the picture and the music and the powers. So let's get right to it, man. If you have not seen my episode 1 and episode 2 review, check it out. It's on my channel. Thanks again for joining me. Let's do this. So blue magma, which is this in this prison, this guy named Blue Magma is just gonna get experimented on, and Trip Hammer, which used to hang out with Diamond, Retro Girl, and Olympia, now he works as like this guard at the blah 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 prison. Who cares? He works at this prison for Powers, and basically Blue Magma blows up. He's trying to test out this thing where he's gonna, you know, attack Trip Hammer, but then a beam comes down and then it just blows him up. That was a miscalculation. It shouldn't have blown him up. It should have just took his powers away. It did more than that. So Trip Hammer's powerless, by the way. Levitation Boy from episode 1, Zora's friend or acquaintance, has been found dead. Zora gets angry and all these purple cubes. I really don't know what Zora's powers are yet, but a bunch of cubes go by and Christian's in the room. He goes up to her and he's like, Zora, you need to pay attention. You're in control. Look around. Don't just look at me. Look everywhere. And basically kind of like that. I know it's a horrible Christian Walker impersonation, but basically that's how it went. And Zora calmed down. The glass is broken. Very, very great. So Chub182, look up that account, she said. There's a needle in Wolf's eye. Trip Hammer is basically torturing or doing something to Wolf's memory, and his book is bullshit. And I like how the other guard was like, your book's not bullshit. Just like, you gotta say that to the prisoner. You don't wanna, if there's a psycho in the room, don't be like, you know what, my friend's right, you're stupid. No, just be like, I'm sorry he said that, I don't agree with him. And maybe you won't die. I mean, just a simple, maybe common sense, I don't know. So the Levitation Boy died in the video on Chub182, and he died by sway. Dina and Christian are observing Here and Gone, the Johnny Royale's nightclub, and Retro Girl and Callista arrive, and they're inside and they're looking around, and Retro Girl's gonna talk to Johnny Royale. So kids are on sway. A lot of people are on sway. Their eyes are red. I mean, they look like they're bloody, you know, possessed. And Callista is hiding, and she kisses a schoolboy, who we've seen the schoolboy in episode 2. Really don't know much about him. I honestly don't care. I'll get to my cons on that. Walker talks to Edwin. Edwin has powers like the storm, and he kind of knew him back from his old days, so that was really cool. And hopefully we get to see Edwin again, and maybe one day if Christian gets his powers again, we'll get to see some team-ups, man. So Retro Girl makes a scene. Callista stays with Royale, and Johnny basically Johnny called Callista Annabelle at a point, and basically Johnny tells Callista, hey, my sister's name was Annabelle, and our dad used to be abusive. He took Annabelle, and I was scared, and I was in the closet, and I was like, please go away, please go away. And he teleported to this place called the Bear Islands, like near Europe or New Zealand type of area, Sweden. And basically he was there for years. He had to travel back, and you know, that's all we got from him. But that was really deep and emotional, intense. And at the end, we're in the prison, the Federation prison, whatever, and Wolf is literally eating. I mean, he's literally chowing down, like he's, and there's blood splattering everywhere, and I'm like, bloody hell, this is literally like something out of True Blood. I mean, like, you know that blood splatter in True Blood, and then, you know, Bill's like, "Suge," and then, I mean, it's really intense, and it's like a water hose of blood, and I'm like, realistically, that wouldn't happen. I mean, it would be like, but it wouldn't be like a water fountain, but it's crazy. And, Johnny Royale pops in, and Wolf looks at him, and he's like, "Can I go home now?" And then that's basically what happens. What an episode, man. What an episode. Let's get right to it. My pros. Pros and cons. The effects in this episode are freaking amazing. I'm going to say that. Like, example, Zora and the cubes. That was pretty good effects. I'm not going to lie. Those effects weren't like, "Oh, it's crappy, it's shitty, what is this?" It was really good. It was really enjoyable, really fun. Now, the cons of the effects is the Bear Islands, the whole green screen where Johnny Royale was in the snow and everything. That was just really, that's not even worth watching. That part, I was like, oh no, not going to work. The pros, Johnny Royale again. Any scene with Johnny Royale, he's just freaking awesome. He's interesting, and we got to see a little bit more of him in this episode. Very cool. Trip Hammer. We finally got to see Trip Hammer for the first time in his whole testing and the whole process, and how he takes off his armor. That's really interesting. He's actually intimidating in the armor, and out of the armor, he's just a douche. It's intense and bloody. I gotta love that ending with Wolf. And it's crazy. I love the ending, and I love the bloodiness and the intensity and the exploding in them. Oh, it's crazy. The costumes. Now, I know some of the costumes are cheesy, but they're wannabes, remember? So it's going to be not real latex, and it's going to be freaking paper bags, brown paper bags, trying to make a you know, style to it. I'm okay with that because they're supposed to be wannabes. They're not actual heroes. And the set pieces. I love the set pieces on where we're at and where we're going. The only cons really is the effects of like the Bear Islands type of example. It is slow. It has a slow start to it. Not really at the start, but there are some slow scenes. There are some stealth scenes though. Some scenes are kind of like, wasn't really needed in there, but okay, I'll let it go. Christian looked dumb this episode. We barely got to see Christian. Like, Christian's not in this episode the whole time. But for Charlotte Copley, when he's in it, he was good in episode 1 and episode 2. I mean, this is his show. But in this episode, he doesn't really do much. Like, he looks dumb in this episode on what he does. He doesn't look like he's, you know, like, really good detective. He's just, like, kind of just there. You know? He's just there. That's it. Retro Girl, going to the club, that whole thing was stupid. I mean, honestly, I could care less. And Schoolboy, that whole Schoolboy thing, I don't care for that guy. He looks so out of the norm. Like, if you could cut him out of the Powers TV show, I'm not hating against the actor or anything. I'm just saying, what is your point? Where are you going with this Schoolboy character? What are you doing? I don't get it, guys. What are you doing? Anyway, that's just what I see, guys. Overall, this was an actual enjoyable episode, and honestly, I kind of like it more than the pilot, to be honest. I'm going to end up giving this episode a solid A, which is a 9 out of 10, and secondarily a B-. So it has that where guilty pleasure A, but also realistically it's a B-, 8.25 out of 10. Because it is enjoyable, and I love this quote, "You want to ruin his life for being stupid?" That one was really good. And we got to learn a lot of stuff this episode. This time it wasn't confusing. It felt like everything was going on me. Although for the title, Mickey Rooney Cries No More, I think it could have been a better title. But overall, it's an enjoyable episode. It's fun. It's great. And it's definitely worth watching Powers even more. See you for the next episode, which airs March 17th, tomorrow. Spoppy with you always.